Hey guys, it's Miss Clark again. Today we are doing chapters 21 and 22 of Sideways Stories from Wayside School. I know it says June 1st, but this is actually June 3rd, 2020 when you're seeing this. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's look at chapter 21, and it's about Ron. So, number 1, what does Ron want to play? Number 2, who was on Ron's team? Number 3, does Ron's team win or lose their games, and what happens? And then number 4, why does Ron punch Lewis? Ooh, that sounds dramatic. Okay, chapter 21. Let's run this page. He looks like he's kicking a ball of some kind. Ron had curly hair and little feet. I want to play kickball, he said. You can't play, said Terrence. Get out of here, said Dee Dee. Scram, said Jason. I want to play kickball, said Ron. Well, you're not playing, said Terrence. Beat it. Ron stomped across the playground to the hopscotch area. Jenny was playing hopscotch with Lewis. Jenny was on 9. Lewis was still on 4, but it was his turn. I want to play kickball, Ron said. So, go play kickball, said Lewis. Terrence won't let me play, said Ron. Lewis walked with Ron to the kickball field. Hey, what about our hopscotch game? Jenny asked. You won, said Lewis. I just beat Lewis. Hopscotch, Jenny announced. Leslie, Rondi, and Allison flocked around her. Hey, Lewis, Damien shouted. Do you want to play kickball? All right, said Lewis. Ron and I will both play. No, said Terrence. Ron isn't playing. Anyone who wants to play can play, said Lewis. No, we can't, said Terrence. It's my ball. It isn't your ball, said Lewis. You gave it to me, said Terrence. I gave it to you to share, said Lewis. If you can't share it, you can't have it. Oh, all right, said Terrence, but I get to pitch. Ron and I will stand everybody, Lewis announced. All right, said Jason. We'll kill them. We'll murder them, said Dee Dee. We'll smash them, said Myron. We'll see, said Lewis. Ron pitched, and Lewis played the other 8 positions. 20 minutes later, they finally got 3 outs. Score was 21-0. Ron was up first. Infield in, shouted Damien. Everybody stood within 10 feet of home plate. All right, Ron, Lewis shouted. Kick it over their heads. Ron kicked the ball only 3.5 feet. Todd picked it up and threw him out. Lewis was up. Everybody ran back to the edge of the outfield. Still, Lewis kicked the ball over their heads for a home run. Everybody ran all the way back in again for Ron's up. He kicked the ball only 2 feet. Dee Dee tagged him out. Lewis kicked another home run. Ron then kicked the ball a foot and tripped over it on his way to first base. 3 outs. Ron and Lewis held the other team to only 5 runs the next inning. That was because the bell rang. Lunch was finally over. Lewis and Ron lost 26-2. Ron had a wonderful time. Next day, Ron said, I want to play kickball. You can't play, said Terrence. Get out of here, said Jason. Scram, said Dee Dee. I want to play kickball, Ron told Lewis. Lewis walked with him to the kickball field. Ron and I will stand all of you. Everybody liked the teams. Ron pitched while Lewis played the other 8 positions. They lost 57-2. After the game, Lewis took Ron aside. Listen, Ron, he said, why do you always want to play kickball? You can't kick, you can't field, you can't even run to first base. You just get smashed every game. Hey, now wait a second, said Ron. Don't go blaming it all on me. You're half the team too, you know. And with that, he punched Lewis in the stomach. He punched a heck of a lot harder than he kicked. So that was about Ron. Okay, so we finished that page. It says, what does Ron want to play? Number 2, well, let's go back. What does Ron want to play? He wants to play kickball, right? So number 2, who was on Ron's team? Okay, and it was just Lewis. It was just the 2 of them. Then number 3, does Ron's team win or lose their games? Well, they lose all of them. They lose all their games. And then number 4, why does Ron punch Lewis? Because Lewis tells him the truth and says that he's not very good at kickball. So, yep. All right. Next part, character card. Don't forget to draw Ron. You got a beautiful little picture of him you can copy if you want. And then chapter 22, the 3 Erics. I know that I have several of you that said that you like those characters the best. So, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this chapter. Chapter 22, the 3 Erics. In Miss Jules' class, there were 3 children named Eric: Eric Fry, Eric Bacon, and Eric Ovens. They were known throughout the school for being fat. All right, so let's go back because I forgot to read the questions. Number 1, what does the whole school think of the 3 Erics? Just read it. Number 2, what is strange about the Eric's nicknames? And then number 3, do you know someone with a nickname, and does it make sense? Okay. So, Eric Fry sat at this end of the room. Eric Bacon sat in the middle of the room, and Eric Ovens sat at that end of the room. There was a joke around Wayside School that if all 3 Erics were ever at the same end of the room at the same time, the whole school would tip over. Eric Bacon hated jokes like that. That's not surprising. After all, he wasn't even fat. In fact, he was the skinniest kid in Mrs. Jules' class, but nobody noticed. The other 2 Erics were fat, and so everyone just thought that all Erics were fat. But I'm not fat, Eric Bacon insisted. What's your name? Asked Jason. Eric, said Eric Bacon. Then you're fat, Jason concluded. And pretty soon, skinny little Eric Bacon, the skinniest kid in Mrs. Jules' class, had the nickname Fatso. Eric Fry really was fat. He was also the best athlete in Mrs. Jules' class. His body was solid muscle. However, nobody ever noticed. The other 2 Erics were very good at sports. Eric Ovens was clumsy. Eric, Fatso, Bacon, was a good athlete for his size, but because he was so skinny, he didn't have much power. So naturally, everybody just assumed that Eric Fry was also clumsy and weak. After all, his name was Eric. Whenever the other kids chose up teams, Eric Fry was the last one picked. They never noticed his home runs or the fabulous catches he made. Like all great athletes, he made the impossible look easy. Of course, the other kids did notice the one time that he dropped the ball. Eric Fry was playing right field. Terrence belted a deep fly to the left. I'm talking about base. Eric Fry raced all the way across the field after the ball, and at the last second dived at it. He caught it midair on his fingertips, but as he hit the ground, the ball squirted loose. Well, what do you expect from Butterfingers? Said Stephen. And since that time, Eric Fry has had the nickname Butterfingers. Doesn't sound too accurate. Eric Ovens was the nicest person in Mrs. Jules' class. He treated everyone equally and always had a kind word to say. But because his name was Eric, everyone thought he was mean. Fatso was mean because everyone called him Fatso. Butterfingers was mean because he always had to play right field. So naturally, everyone just assumed that Eric Ovens was also mean. They called him Crabapple. Good morning, Allison, said Eric Ovens. How are you? Lay off, Crabapple, will ya? Answered Allison. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. All 3 of the Erics had nicknames. It was better that way. Otherwise, when someone said, Hey, Eric, no one knew who was talking. One time, all the Erics would answer. And the next time, none of them would answer. When someone said, Hey, Crabapple, then Eric Ovens knew they were talking to him. And if someone said, Hey, Butterfingers, Eric Fry knew they meant him. And when someone said, Hey, Fatso, Eric Bacon knew that he was being called. All right, so there's the picture. And then here are the other 2 pictures on this page. So let's see if we can answer these questions. Number 1, what does the whole school think of the 3 Erics? Well, they think that all 3 of them are fat, which is not true. Number 2, what is strange about the Erics' nicknames? Well, they're all opposite of the way the Erics actually are. And number 3, do you know someone with a nickname? Does it make sense? Well, I don't really know anybody that has a nickname, so I can't really answer that question. So if you can't answer it either, you can just say, I don't know anyone with a nickname. And then there you go. All right. So don't forget, in the character card, you can put the 3 Erics. You could draw all 3 of them. Okay. So I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you later.